Alright guys, SAUG here, and finally we actually have some news to talk about. There's a major patch note which has come out yesterday and is due for a couple of days time when it's actually going to go live. So we're going to go through all the changes today as they are supposed to happen in a couple of days time. Exactly when they are happening is around the CWL because it's being delayed a little bit. This is a very controversial change. There's a lot of things that the community on the whole doesn't seem to like. I'm going to try and put a pretty neutral spin on it, and yeah, we'll see what you guys think in the comment section below. So like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always. And let's hop right into it here. So this has been teased for a long time, the major balancing gameplay tuning update that we're going to have, and it's going to go live on February the 19th for normal play. However, it's going to be delayed for introduction to the competitive scene because as it turns out, February 19th is a Tuesday, which would mean that the patch notes were going live during the Division B of the Pro League. So instead, they're going to delay the introduction of the patch notes to the CWL for until the next week. So until the end of Thursday, the 21st, the CWL Pro League is going to be played on the old patch, and then from there, the new one is going to be introduced as far as I understand it. One thing to mention before we go forwards, that February 21st is the date that League play is officially going to drop, which is, well, it's finally been announced. The bad part about this is that I think it's first on PS4, which is an absolute classic, but something that should have been in the game since the start of release, and it's another week later on Xbox is just like, at that point it's arguably unacceptable, right? So, yeah, one thing to note here at the end here is that custom games is going to be removed from the multiplayer menus and put into the World League hub, which is kind of funny because it says they're going to remove it on the 19th and then they're going to put it in on the 21st, so I don't know where it goes between those 2 days. It would be classic Treyarch if it was just to disappear from the game entirely. The gameplay tuning updates are going to be implemented during week 2 of Division B, so the second week of play is going to be played on the new patch, which is either a good thing or a bad thing because these are major changes and we'll go through them today. You know, it's not great for Division B, but at the same time I feel that at least having some sort of practice with these notes on LAN is going to make Fort Worth a more fair tournament, because the problem is if you have no practice on the new patch going into a LAN event, and then the game usually plays pretty differently on LAN, as a lot of pros have attested to that fact. So once you go onto LAN, likely the game is going to be who adapts the quickest, which is maybe not the case if the Division B teams have already had the chance to play on LAN and figure out what's good and what's bad. So we'll have to see. There's negatives either way. Let's go through some of these notes right here then. So first of all, the ICR has only had changes on the PC version. There's a few PC only changes right here. So the Rampart has been buffed a little bit up to, 42 yards from 37 and a bit. The KN has been buffed as well. The Vapor has definitely been buffed. So the ADS, it sways a little less. It's still recoil isn't great. And yeah, the 5-hit kill range has been increased significantly. And this is the big change. I think this is the major part of the patch notes. The Maddox appears to have been significantly nerfed. Now, we don't know, of course, how important these changes are going to be and how influential they are. They could be really minor changes, but there is a lot of them, and it kind of implies that they want to heavily nerf the Maddox. Now, I doubt this is off the back of competitive community interaction. I think it's more so that when they look at the statistics from how people are performing in public matches, they see that the Maddox is really dominating. And a lot of that is largely because the people who tend to use the Maddox are maybe the people that watch the pro scene and the people that tend to be better at the game anyway and more experienced. So like, there's a natural tendency towards the better players using the better guns increase the stats even more than the stats would already be, but regardless, like, that's a separate point, a topic of other discussion. The Maddox is going to get nerfed here to some degree. So the reduced recoil stability in the first 5 shots, I think they already made a change a couple of months ago about reducing the recoil stability in the first couple shots, but now it's going to be for the first 5. The operator mod's got some changes, and then Quick Draw 1 and Quick Draw 2 have both been nerfed. Stock has been nerfed, and ELO has been nerfed. So I guess people will start using Red Dot a bit more on this maybe. And yeah, I don't know how bad the Maddox is going to change out the back of this. It may not be significant. I think some people are overreacting. We haven't seen how it's going to be yet in competitive play. Once this actually does come out, then I'll talk about more how the changes are actually going to be affected, but a lot of this is theoretical right now. The Maddox, of course, is going to have some degree of a nerf, but whether it's going to be significant or not is definitely questionable. The max damage range has also been reduced here from 24 to 21 yards, which, okay, that may be a significant change, but at the same time, if the other ARs aren't buffed that much, and of course, the Maddox still has 40 shots in it, which is really one of its advantages, so we'll have to see exactly how this recoil pattern changes, but I'm not going over the top in assuming the Maddox is just going to be dead in the water right now, because I think it's still going to be a very solid weapon. So the SMGs, there's a couple of changes here. The MX9 has been buffed, the GKS has been buffed, the Spitfire has actually been nerfed, which really shows how, a lot of these balances are around the public match side, which is definitely understandable. But yes, the Spitfire has actually been nerfed, and so has the SAUG. And this is really the big deal right here because, yes, reduced sprint out speed, reduced base movement speed, reduced ADS speed with stock and stock 2, and reduced recoil stability with grip. So Parasite made an interesting point here. He reckons that stock 2 is now going to be gentleman's degreement or ungentleman's degreemented as it is right now. So it's going to be un-GA'd, so people will be using stock 1, stock 2, and then they'll be using quick draw instead of grip because grip is kind of meaningless. And also Envoy was showing at the Pro League qualifier that he was literally just using stock 1 and stock 2 on his SAUG, and he didn't even use grip at the PLQ and he was going off. So especially if grip is now not as good as it used to be, then there's definitely an argument there that says that you don't need it at all anymore. And yeah, the SAUG, the damage and things haven't changed particularly, only the operator mod has been changed outside of that. So really, I kind of think that people are overreacting a little bit to this patch because there's so many apparent nerfs on the SAUG and the Maddox. It looks like things are going to be worse than they actually are per se. But, the damage on the SAUG isn't going to change. It's only really the attachments that are changing. And because some of the other weapons, such as the MX9, for example, they don't even have the attachments that the SAUG and the Maddox have, then that's probably going to keep those guns definitely at the higher end of the pecking order, I would presume. The MX9 does have improved ADS speed, which is important because it doesn't have quick draw, and that was really the main factor holding it back, I think, from competing with the SAUG. But as far as I see it on the surface, I think the SAUG will still be the only SMG used, and I would hazard to guess that the Maddox will probably be still the main assault rifle. The ICR will definitely be used as well, of course, the main assault rifle, it's unlikely that's going to change, but yeah, the Maddox, I still see it being very competitive. Depends how the Vapor changes, but I can't see the KN or Rampart really being used. Be interested to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. So to go through some other changes here, we do have a buff to the ABR and the Swordfish, increase ADS move speed and sprint out speed, and ADS in speed with the Swordfish here, but no stock on these still, or no stock on the Swordfish at least. And yeah, the issue really with the Swordfish trying to compete with the ICR is that the ICR has that flinch mitigation that the Swordfish really can't compete with. The Swordfish is legitimately better up close than it is at range, competing with the ICR. So whether we'll see people use the Swordfish instead of the, instead of the Maddox, for example, we'll have to see, but I doubt it somehow. The LMGs have been significantly nerfed, especially the Titan. Look at all those changes. They have got pummeled into oblivion. There's a couple of things here, quick draw, the Koshka, improved ADS sway, etc., but not too relevant for competitive. I'll scroll through these if you want to change, if you want to, pause and have a look at them. So we have a couple of changes to the specialists here. So the Seeker drone has been nerfed, and so has the 9-bang. You can read through those changes if you would like, but these are both banned in competitive play nowadays anyway. This is a big change. Active specialist weapons will now lose all cooldown on round change. One thing that would happen is, let's say you are holding a retake from a bomb site. You whip out the Annihilator, you get a kill with it, and then the round ends because your teammate clean up the rest of them. Your Annihilator, because you'd only use a quarter of its lifespan or something like that, it would respawn with half of it left. And you could get once you get the Annihilator once, if you used it intelligently and you were good with it, you could get it again just a couple of rounds later. And now they've changed that. So if you use the specialist weapon, guaranteed at the start of next round, you will have 0 progression, which is definitely the way to go. So the frag has been buffed as well, and the stun grenade is, this is a good change. Players can now stun themselves with their own concussion grenade, which was a change that really, I don't know why that wasn't a thing before. Players will no longer raise their hands when affected by a concussion grenade if they have tactical mask, and this is a big change. Also, players can change their stances while flashed with a 9-bang, so maybe that's important for public matches, but I'm pretty sure Ajax is now banned, so it won't matter too much anyway. Yeah, as you can see, tac mask has been buffed right here. One thing that Aches was talking about was that Flak Jacket has not received a nerf. So Aches' tweet right here saying that the Annihilator has 6 shots, always a 1-shot kill, but the War Machine with 6 shots potentially is 3 to 4 shots to kill when a player has Flak Jacket, and you also have to dodge trophy systems. So a lot of people were suggesting that Flak Jacket needs to be nerfed as a result of this. I personally don't necessarily align with that opinion because I think that it provides more resistance to specialists, and the less that the specialists have impact on the game, the better, in my opinion. But yes, there is obviously a discrepancy here between how strong the Annihilator is and how strong the War Machine can be. Flak Jacket is very, very strong indeed right now, but, you know, maybe that's a good thing. So there's some changes to the score streaks as well. The Lightning Strike has been buffed, so there's a reduced delay between targeting and the jets arriving. Sentry's been buffed as well, which is, yes, so in the GB rule set, Sentry's actually allowed for some reason to, like, defend the bomb. So I guess that'll increase the commonality that we see that within the game. Now, this is an interesting one. The drone squad has been buffed in terms of its damage has been improved. And, well, the subject of AI score streaks has really been a conversation point as of late. A lot of people don't like them in competitive, and especially how strong they are right now. The drone squad, for example, if you die in Search and Destroy, the drone squad will continue to hover over your body, and it lasts for a very long time. So, for example, you plant the bomb, you call in the drone squad, you literally just stand there, the drone squad will just stand over the bomb, and if you get killed, the drone squad will keep hovering over the bomb, it will kill everyone, and it's also super impactful in hardpoint as well. If you know how to, like, use the drone squad, you can, like, run into a room and then run back out, and then the drone squad will just follow you into the room and they'll kill everyone in there. It's definitely questionable, and the fact that they've been buffed again is interesting. Now, some people are suggesting that Zero should be allowed in competitive as a result of this. Not the player who had that nice drone squad against Optic Gaming in the league last week, but the actual specialist that was introduced a while ago. Now, they have said that the specialists will not be allowed. The new ones being introduced will not be allowed in competitive. But if changes are made to Zero's ice pick, then it definitely could be viable, because she has the EMP, which seems very reasonable, and also the ice pick specialist. Now, the problem with the ice pick is not only does it hack the enemy's, like, HUDs, which I think is, you know, distinctly uncompetitive. It's like the system hack from Advanced Warfare, if any of you guys remember that. And also we have the ability to hack enemy score streaks. They just become yours. If they changed that for competitive, such that it just destroyed enemy score streaks, I think it's definitely very viable in competitive, and I think a lot of people would be very happy to have the ability to get rid of the drone squad and get rid of the sniper's nest if it was possible. And yeah, the whole idea that a team could run that specialist basically means that is anyone going to run, you know, drone squad and sniper's nest anymore that have both been buffed in this patch. So it's an interesting one. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on it. Mantis, Thresher and Strike team have all been buffed as well, and this general thing of score streak team kills will no longer count towards the team kill kick limit in modes with friendly fire enabled. So, well, that's interesting. I think for the Pro League mosh pit that's currently going on before League Play goes live in a couple of days' time, or even longer than that for you Xbox guys, it just is tragic. So yeah, that is going to be at least a positive factor. So those are all the patch notes. That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. There's definitely some conversation on this on the Reddit thread down below this one, so I'll link it down below if you want to look through some more community reaction. Certainly an interesting one. This is a tweet from Parasite as well, summing up what his thoughts are on the issue. Stock 2 will be on Gentleman's Agreements. Grip will no longer be using Quick Draw, will take its spot as the handle. Anyone looking for alternatives might use an MX9 then. He reckons the Vapor will replace the Maddox. Now, yes, certainly possible it will, but as I say, we don't know to what extent these nerfs are going to be right now. The Vapor's a solid weapon, but I don't really think it has the rate of fire, and its recoil is a little bit dodgy compared to the Maddox, so I'm tempted to suggest the Maddox will still be the prevalent weapon. Obviously, this patch has been relatively controversial, the idea that people think that the weapon balancing is in a pretty good place right now on the whole. People kind of like the idea that you have an ICR, 2 Maddoxes and 2 SAUGs, and yes, well, that may be a good thing, but it's also possible that we were seeing a similar thing in Black Ops 3, but then they did a patch and they, you know, nerfed and buffed a couple of different weapons, and then we saw the HVK, we saw the Man of War getting pulled out more often. So maybe we will have a more versatile meta. I think it's unwise to, like, hate on this already is what I would suggest. But anyway, so yeah, leave all your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Charges acquired. Bomb planted. Nice work, Black Ops. Get ready for the next round. Switching operation ready point.